Hi, all. So, yet another thing is going wrong with this accursed supposed third season of Euphoria, which shouldn't even be happening in the first place, okay? So, yesterday, Labrinth, the sonic architect behind Euphoria, basically just publicly crashed out online. And I'm not saying crash out because I'm not on his side, okay? Basically, what he wrote, he said, fuck Columbia, his record label, double fuck Euphoria, I'm out, thank you, and good night. And then subsequently, he posted a song, which sounded, people were thinking, is this the unreleased Euphoria soundtrack? But the thing that actually struck me were the lyrics.
Money on the dresser, I'm a prostitute, no Vaseline, this is how they do. Money on the dresser, fingers on the cooch, looking for a predator, here's a prostitute. Just get my money, yeah. Just get my money, yeah.
Which very clearly reads as someone like who was feeling like used and exploited by the machine, literally. So we don't know what happened. It's not out specifically. He did not explain the details, so everything else is just like speculation at this point. But based on what I know of Sam Levinson, I'm sure it's his fault. Point blank. I'm sure that he has everything to do with it, okay? Want to know why? Because Sam Levinson has a pattern, okay? He's got a pattern of creative fallout. He basically, I think of him as Hurricane Sam. Everywhere he goes, his creative collaborators eventually burn out, fall out, or walk away from him, right? I think Sam probably thinks of Euphoria as his brainchild, as like this like one-man vision thing. But it never was that. It has always been a collaborative thing. Petra Collins, who he also discarded, shaped the visual identity of the show. You know, Zendaya is the face of the show, right? Barbie Ferreira was really key to being like as a secondary plot line of the show, but he also burned that relationship as well. And Labrinth created the sonic identity of the show, and now he's fallen out with Labrinth. It doesn't make sense. It's a network of artists who worked to create something that was really distinctive, and Labrinth's music specifically is very defining for the series. I honestly think that part of the problem is that Sam Levinson, I think he has difficulty sustaining creative collaboration because he has this sort of chaotic, like one-man genius, like, oh, my vision is my vision type of worldview. And I think that can be intoxicating when you first encounter it. Like many people are very like drawn to him when they first encounter him, but in the long run it seems like it kind of gets old and tiresome. He also has a tendency to turn on people. If you look at that Hollywood Reporter article and how he and Zendaya seem to be in actual conflict in some kind of like weird power struggle where he was kind of throwing her under the bus, that is, I think you'll understand why I'm making that assertion. And then also, if you look at how his relationship with Barbie Ferreira panned out and the way he did Cat So Dirty, Stinky, Filthy on season 2 of Euphoria, that also pans out that way. And also, if you look at what happened with Petra Collins, where he basically had her in order to do the creative vision and then basically discarded her when he had fully mined her of all of her views, that also works out that way as well. I also think that he has a pretty big ego on him as well. And I think that right now, with the cast of Euphoria having become as big as they've become, that would make it nearly impossible to do what needs to be done to make Euphoria happen, right? Because the thing is, when Euphoria started, a lot of these people were sort of like, not no name, but they were kind of new to the industry. Zendaya wasn't new to the industry. Euphoria elevated her to like the next level of star stratosphere, right? But I think that in order to be able to sustain a creative collaboration with people whose status has elevated the way that like Jacob Elordi, Sydney Sweeney, Zendaya, all those, Labrinth too, people have elevated to, there's a certain level of respect you need to treat them with that maybe you didn't treat them with before. And I suspect that Sam is probably incapable of giving that kind of respect. Whatever. And why do I say all these things? Girl, I don't know that man. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe, girl. That's just what I think. It's my opinion of him. That's my opinion. And that's what this whole place is about, right? What's really sad about Euphoria is that when it premiered in 2019, it was genuinely a groundbreaking thing, right? The visuals were absolutely stunning. The music was absolutely haunting. And the storytelling was raw. It was unsettling. And it felt really visceral. you know? And it also happened at a time when Gen Z was just coming of age. That was 2019, right? And it kind of captured the sort of like nightmare of growing up in the internet age when it was still not fully actualized by the actual generation that was being portrayed. And so because of that, it felt like a stylized, hyper intense portrait of what a Gen Z adolescence might look like. And so I think for millennials like me, it was pretty striking to watch. And it felt like a glimpse into a generation that was navigating social media, identity, addiction, and sexuality in ways on a stage while constantly being perceived on the internet. And I think that it did a really powerful job of capturing the pressure of that, right? And also the aesthetic really hit in the cultural moment, right? It was a moment where it was like, not that long after 2016, 2017, which was very maximalist in terms of aesthetics and all that clean girl post-COVID bullshit hadn't fully taken hold yet, right? So the post-Tumblr sort of edgy makeup, sort of purple look, I tried to do one inspired by Euphoria today, really was striking and really like hit an artistic nerve and hit a chord with the people at the moment, And the cast was young, sexy, unknown, and really believable as the characters that they've been playing. But now the show, it feels completely different and is going to feel completely different. And why is that? Well, bitch, too much time has passed. Okay, how about that? Okay, this is season 3 happening in 2026. The show premiered in 2019. Season 2 was in 2022. It has been 4 years. 4 years! It's completely ridiculous. And we have been removed from the major cultural moment. The momentum has been lost. The culture has moved on, okay? And the actors have moved on. The actors are different people, and they have different meanings and resonance in the zeitgeist, okay? When the show started, a lot of these people were like emerging talents, but now they're celebrities. And I don't think that Sam Levinson has a skill set to navigate managing them. And anyway, I think this Labrinth thing is yet another casualty of the chaotic personality that is Sam Levinson. I really find that The Idol really pulled the wool off of my eyes with the whole like Sam Levinson thing, because that show was just disturbing. But in any case, the Labrinth thing is actually really sad, right? Because Labrinth is fundamental to the architecture of the show. So much of his music was like the centerpiece of the season finale of season 1, and it's so striking. When I think of Euphoria, I can literally hear All For Us in my head right now, And I don't understand how the show is going to function without that sound. And then on top of it, there's rumors about tension between him and Zendaya, which it's like, okay, are you just going to do some weird plot line with Rue to get her back the same way you did Barbie Ferreira? I don't even know if I want to see that. I mean, am I going to be watching? Yeah, probably, because y'all are going to be watching. But am I excited? Well, not really, okay? The thing about Euphoria that's kind of tragic is that it truly was lightning in a bottle. But at the same time, it's very hard to sustain lightning in a bottle when you don't have the skill set and you have too much ego and you have an unstable captain of the ship, basically. I think one by one, the parts that made Euphoria magical have been peeled away, or if they haven't fully been peeled away, they've become tense and frayed. Not to mention, unfortunately, the horrible deaths that have happened in the cast as well. Honestly, I think that the show without its creative collaborators is going to be really hard to recognize, and it's going to be hard to even know what we're watching anymore. But that said, I think people are still going to tune in because of the impact Euphoria had in its heyday. But I do think it's going to be like watching a train wreck happen, because I think that it's reflective of its leader, Sam, who is a train wreck. That's my honest opinion, okay? Anyway, it's been disappointing to watch Euphoria unravel, and it's sad to see Labrinth feeling exploited by the industry. But given the pattern of the show's creator, are we that surprised? I can't say I am, all right? So that's what I have to say about this whole Euphoria thing and this Labrinth thing. I don't really know what happened, but I'm sure Sam was behind it, and that's what I gotta say, all right? I'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.